Management for Pasco County. Over the last few days, starting back from September 13th, we noticed some ground anomalies or subsidence going on in the Beaconwood areas. We started receiving some phone calls that in a retention pond area that's privately owned, some holes had opened up. We sent a team out there along with fire rescue, and in fact, there is some movement and some depressions in the ground. We marked them, made sure that everybody was aware not to go in that area, stay away. That was on Tuesday the 13th. Wednesday, we got another call, more holes opening up. Went back out there again, same area, same location, and this went all the way through Friday with a break on Saturday, and then they started reoccurring again on Sunday. Currently, we have 16 depressions out there in the Willow Brook area. They're all on private property. Some are owned by homeowners, some are owned by the HOA. We've been working very closely with them throughout. We have gone out there every day since then to monitor the ground and look for them. We did have two that were on the county right-of-way that were filled in on Willow Brook Court, and they have been filled in with sand. Some of them are growing and some of them are still active. They're not very large holes. Our largest one is approximately about 25 feet long by about 15 feet wide. That's the only one that has accumulated water in it, which tells us that it has hit the aquifer and there's movement with it. The depression, like I said, the depressions are all private property. When we go out there and work with these folks, the homeowners, the HOA and everybody, we work with them on a one-on-one basis to get them in contact with the homeowners insurance company. We assure life safety. We have building inspectors that go out and check their structures. As of right now, no structures are in danger. There is no life safety issue. We're continuously monitoring, and they're prone in that area. If I have a map set up here, and there's a yellow diagram going down. That yellow diagram going down is an active cave system that is under Pasco County. It has been there historically for centuries. 2000, a team of divers went down there and actually mapped it out to let us know where the location is, how that actually runs, and it runs about 9 miles, and it runs right through the heart of Beacon Woods. Now we started mapping that and we started following it on the map, and it actually lines up with these cave systems. So I'm not a geologist, I cannot tell if the two are connected, but with the aquifer moving in the cave system, the heavy rains that we have could set up for these depressions to start. We've been in contact with the state. They are going to send someone down to help us look at them. They cannot make a determination because they are on private property, but they are going to assist us. We've also been in contact with USF. They have helped us on other actual sinkholes and other anomalies, and they have historical data on this cave system. With that, do I have any questions?
So when it hits the aquifer, does that make it more susceptible to flow or for other things to open up in that larger hole? Do you know how deep that runs down to hit the aquifer?
That cave system runs anywhere from 185 feet deep to as little as 4 feet deep in some areas. So it's hard to tell exactly where it's affected by the cave system or if it even is part of that cave system.
Can you go into a little bit more about the relationship with working with the state and USF and how you're also, you were saying that this is on private property, you know, these are homeowners that are having to deal with this. So I guess kind of walk us through the relationship there.
Oh, back in 2015, there's a large sinkhole out in Beacon Woods. And when they investigated it, it actually turned out to be an entrance to one of the caves. So the divers went in there, and in agreement with USF, they worked with them, they started mapping out the cave system. On top of the ground, USF was following them with ground penetrating sonar to where it was going, and it extends all the way north from State Road 52 all the way down to just about 19, and it actually goes out into the Gulf. So we've used USF on another sinkhole in the past. They went out there and actually helped us map out the system to see if that hole was going to extend. So we wanted to hopefully use them here to see if we could actually put correlation with the two.
Is there anything that the county can do to help the homeowners even though some of this is on their private property?
Unfortunately not. It's on private property, private right-of-way. It's between the homeowner and their insurance and the HOA and their insurance.
But no structures are in danger of falling into one of the active holes?
No, we've gone out there every day, got a pretty good mapping process. We only have one structure that actually in their backyard was a series of about 4 smaller sinkholes, but they had all connected together and gave out. But the homeowner got in hold of their insurance company. They have been backfilled. There was no threat to the structure. Our building inspectors went out and said they're absolutely fine.
How far away from the home are those?
The ones that are currently out there now, you can see right here on the map, they're, I would say, good 25, 30 yards away from that main body area where the retention pond is. Some of them are actually very close to the structures, and some of them are basically in the yards also. So there's numerous distances.
Do you think there's potential for more to open up?
With the heavy rain saturation that we have, yes, I do. And there's no telling where, when, or how.
So is there a concern that they could pose a threat, the new ones that could open up to structures, or do you think they'd still be
I
deployed?
I can't make that call. It's hard to tell. It depends where on the structure it falls.
Is there any way to tell when they're active how big they can open up to as time progresses?
Size-wise, no. What we do is when we go out for an active depression, we mark it with orange spray paint around the perimeter, and then we go back the next day and check, and then we repeatedly check. On some of them, we actually, when we went back out there yesterday, because we got called out there, the orange paint was gone. So we know, you can see it down in the bottom of the hole. And they vary from size. Some of them are like 2 by 2 by 5. They're all different sizes.
You know what the deepest one is?
The deepest one is that one right there in the center. It's probably about 8 foot deep and probably about 25 foot long. And we noticed when we went out there and marked it originally that the ground all along that outside area is very, very soft. I myself made victim to it. I was walking along the fence line on this south side, and I thought I was walking on the grass, and actually the bottom had fallen out where the grass was, and I found the hole really quick. I didn't fall in it, but so things like that can happen.
What is the possibility that those depressions became in a sinkhole?
They would have to be monitored and checked with active sonar. So that's the only way I can find out if they're going to become sinkholes or not.
What is possible?
It is possible, yes.
So on this picture, we see 4 that look obvious, and then we see other black dots. Are those also sinkholes?
Those, yes, those are throats. All these holes along here are throats, and there's even smaller ones back in the background along here, and there's one actually right here, and all you see is a line, but there's nothing on it. There's actually empty underneath it. And you come around the front, there's actually one here and one here. That's what we repaired. There's one here. This was the resident I was telling you that all these opened up.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what was our concern. That's why we called the building inspector out. But it's nowhere near the slab of the structure, so it's not causing any kind of danger. But those are basically it. We have them across the street. We have one on this house, and then we have one on, I believe it's this house over here, in the backyard. So if you watch the pattern and you can put it in correlation to the map, it actually is working the system and coming up and making that turn. And there is a bend in the cave system right there where it's at.
Are you calling these sinkholes or just depressions? You know, what's the difference between?
A depression?
Yeah.
We can call it a depression. We cannot classify a sinkhole. It has to be done by a geologist. They're the ones that make that clarification.
Do you know when they'll be out?
No, we did not. We were in contact with them today. They're going to make an appointment to come down here. They'll do some research. We have historical data from the original sinkhole in 2015 that the divers actually used. They came out and they verified it was a sinkhole because it does open up into the aquifer.
How many sinkholes have been around this cave in the past?
I don't have a number for that, but in Beacon Woods, there's 354 residents. Out of those 354 residents, there's been 170 sinkhole mitigations, which means they have active sinkholes and they have had them fixed. There are some areas in here that'll show up that people might have had a sinkhole and never claimed it. So we don't have a true count, but we know by watching the movement and everything, that's how we're basing our facts on.
And what year is that since? The 170 sinkholes?
Yes.
Did you start recording that?
That would be through the Pasco County Property Appraisal. I can't give you a time. I don't have dates for that, sorry.
And that one with the water is probably the one you said's the biggest that hit the aquifer. That's the only
Yes, that's one of the big ones, and that's one of our main concern ones. These holes like this or depressions like this, they're not catastrophic like we've seen in the past where the whole bottom just falls out, you lose a house, you lose whatever happens. This is not like that. These are slow developing depressions that move on over time.
I know we have a crew out there talking to homeowners, and she just texted me and just said some of the homeowners are scared, you know, they're worried, obviously property values. Anything you can just tell them about?
Well, as I said, based on our facts and from what we've seen, we do not see an actual public safety or life safety concern at this time. Unfortunately, these homes were built over this cave system many, many, many years after this cave system was there. So they did not know, and it didn't come to light until that sinkhole opened up in 2000, or I forgot the actual day, I think it was 2000, and they actually started putting divers in there. That's when they discovered the cave system, and they actually mapped it out.
And that was the entrance to the cave system.
That's one of the entrances. There's 3 of them.
And the cave system is 185 feet?
It varies. It varies. It goes low as 4 or 5 feet below the surface to up to 185 feet below the surface. So it's a different tunneling effect in areas like that.
And are you guys getting DEP out there or just USF?
No, we had a conversation with DEP in the state, and they are they will send a rep out. But like I said, I'm not sure they're going to make a classification on it because it is on private property.
Can you just tell us what it is that you're going to be doing for the rest of this week? I know you said that you've kind of been waiting on people to call you, but is there anything that you guys are going to be doing for the rest of the week?
We've been very proactive with the citizens. We've gone out there every day. We interact with them every day. The big sinkhole on Teakwood, we've interacted with them a lot because they had some concerns that it was growing. And from what we can see, with all this heavy rainfall that we've had for the last week, the opening of that hole is very sloped. So with that rainwater running in there, it's eroding the sides away. And we're trying to reassure them that it's actually not active movement, it's just the erosion and wash away. So myself and one of my coworkers have a meeting with 4 of those residents to try to put them at ease.
16 at one time rare?
Very rare. Yes, sir. Very, very rare. We weren't expecting it. We get it every rainy season. We'll get 1, maybe 2, maybe 3 a month. But we got 2 one day, then 3 one day, then 4 one day. And then when we started walking the property out there, we started seeing the other ones that people have not seen. So that's how we came up with our number.
August 13th was the first call?
Very first call.
Pasco is going through a huge amount of development. When you see something like this, are you talking to the county about maybe doing some forelooking onto the property before they allow buildings like this?
Now, to that point, when they do new construction, the contractor or developer usually runs ground penetrating sonar over the grounds that they're going to build on. So it's usually done through the contracting service. It's not something that I believe that we actually required. I have to look that up. But a majority of the time, the actual contractor and development company does that themselves.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot.